What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Parents Portfolio Update. My name is Ryan, and this is where I try to turn $5,000 portfolio into as much money as I can for my parents. My parents put $5,000 into this portfolio back on November 28th, and I have been managing it ever since. We have a couple changes since I made this the last video yesterday. We were looking at VG and Oklo, both options. We were considering unloading them. Oklo was hanging on to support, and VG was also hanging on to support. So VG, we were up quite a bit on those options. Oklo, we were down. And then we also had about $2,000 in cash to deploy. So I did make a move today, deployed about 75% of that cash. So let's get into it, see what's changed. And we have, as you can see, the portfolio has grown between 85 and 90%. We're at $9,382 in just about almost exactly 2 months. So doing pretty well. We had a good day today, up almost 9%, $750. And the 4 core positions, which I hold, I'm a huge commodity bull. I've made some changes here and there to this portfolio, but right now we have Encore Energy, ASP Isotopes, Centrus Energy, and Lithium. I entered those positions because, well, I'm a huge commodity bull, huge energy bull, huge uranium bull, and the opportunity to get into those positions, it was a good opportune time. And so far it's worked out. We have 27% gains, right about 27% gains for Encore Energy, ASPI, and LEU, which they're in pretty much the same sector. So I suppose it makes a little bit of sense. SLI, we're up just about 10%. I do think I think copper is the next commodity to really start running, but I think lithium is going to be pretty well, uranium and copper, I should say. Uranium is mid stride. Just it hasn't had that not blow off, but it hasn't had quite the run that silver has. But it is mid stride, and then I think copper is just about to get going. It's been doing well, but I think you're looking at a very similar move in copper that you saw in silver and in gold. So I feel like I do not have enough copper exposure in my personal portfolio. So I have been beefing up my positions, but I think I'm going to try to do a little bit more of that tomorrow. So I'll make another video on that. But back to my parents' portfolio here. We have 3 options. We have VG, three call options positions. We have VG, which yesterday, and I'll bring up the chart in a second, broke back down. Well, we were considering unloading these options, and I ultimately did not, and I'll explain why. We have Oklo, which we were down significantly. We were down 75% on these options or thereabout. And just today, they recovered 98%. Oklo was up about 10% as a stock. And I said in the last video that I think that this thing could come in the money. I was still relatively optimistic about it. We'll look at that chart. And then Alibaba, I did open up a position, call option position in Alibaba. I'm going to show you guys the charts and give you my thinking behind that as well. So let's pull up these charts. We're just going to look at let's do VG first. Venture Global. So Venture Global, we bought these around here. Like I said, we're up 110% now on these options. But Venture Global, we were looking really good when we were here. Okay, we broke out of this downtrend, which on top of that, not only did we break out of this downtrend, which usually means we're going to see upside at some point in the near future. We also were right on the cusp of entering this little gap here. And so we really had a good well I still we were right on the cusp of making a big run. I think so. We had two bullish technical uh characteristics on this chart. And so we were very optimistic, but then we got this big red candlestick, pulled back, and then pulled back again yesterday and actually fell back beneath this trend line. But then today we had a really nice day, a nice bounce here, and now we're trying to fight back through this trend line. So if we can get through this trend line and convincingly, we will close this gap. This gap will close. So these options, they expire on February 27th. I'm going to make a prediction that we do close this gap by the time these expire. We're going to keep a close eye on it because we do want to protect the gains. We want to lock in some profits if this looks like it's going to go south. But today is an encouraging day. So we're holding on to VG, did not sell any. Next is Oklo, and this is a stock. I have a large position in my personal portfolio. I have options open in my personal portfolio. And here is one that is setting up beautifully. I mean, it is a perfect inverse head and shoulders pattern. I jumped the gun on the options, 100%. I bought the options around here. I thought we were about to break out, and it was a bad move. I should have waited. I should have been a little bit more patient. If I wanted to buy some equity, it wouldn't have been a bad idea. But with call options, I should have been more careful and waited for more confirmation that we were breaking out. I think we got that confirmation today. This is a really strong green candlestick. Great close, barely any wick at the top. And I think this is the launch on Oklo. I think you're going to see a pretty nice run here in this stock. And ultimately, I do think that these options are going to come in the money. So we don't have a lot of time, 213, but we will see what happens. Sometimes after an inverse head and shoulder, it could do a little bit of a retrace here. Hopefully that is not the case. I think it looks great. So we'll see what happens. We're still riding those shares. So great day today on Oklo. Hopefully we can recover further tomorrow and end up on the green on these options. So last position I want to go over here is Alibaba. So Alibaba is a stock that it was my most successful trade last year. I traded some equity positions, but my call options last year came in between 600 and 900%. And the chart is setting up perfectly. I entered call options probably a month ago in my personal portfolio, and those are up about 150% so far. There was a few other stocks that I was looking at for them. Why I ultimately chose Alibaba. We're mid-stride with Alibaba. I'm trying to catch some of that momentum going up. It's not usually I try to buy these options like right here. Here's an example of a falling wedge. This is where I bought my personal options in my call options in my personal portfolio. This is a clear breakout, and now we're grinding up higher. Alibaba, it's an AI play. It's one of the biggest companies in China. It's a play on the dollar, the de-dollarization, weakness in the dollar. And I would say I wouldn't say it's a play on that, but that's certainly going to help, I think. So that's something. I think this is mid-stride. I think we ultimately end up north of 200 on Alibaba, certainly probably by June. Um, and I did 190 for 320. So we'll see where those come in. Um, I think they'll print. And I'm just going to show you. Look how beautiful this chart looks out for Alibaba. I mean, this is last year. This circle, I actually already have it in here. This is where I bought options last year, and I wrote it all the way up to here. I actually held on to some a little bit too long, and then ultimately I think I sold in here. So I could have done a little bit better, but still a great trade. And I mean, look at this. This is the falling wedge, right? Breaks out, rides up. It did it back here too. I mean, that's pretty clean right there as well. And then it rode it up. So, I mean, this is a very similar pattern. This is the pattern right here that Alibaba did in 2025 last year. And then this is the pattern it did this year. And now we're about to go up, or we're already on the way up. So, I think probably, 192. Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna tag this uptrend line at some point in the near future, definitely this year. And so I just felt like it's a nice steady stock that has momentum that I anticipate is a pretty sure thing to continue higher. That's why I went with this stock. There's a lot of equities and commodity stocks that they've just been on such a strong run. It's just they're hard to catch. So, and they just get very volatile. So I do well. I have done well on commodity options. I will trade them, but I think for this portfolio, we have a lot of good gains so far. I just wanted to put some money in a very something that I look at it as a relatively safe bet compared to some of the other plays out there. So that was the thought process on Alibaba. Venture Global and Oklo. Hopefully we can get some further upside here. And the other positions, we're just going to sit pretty. We do have another $500 in cash that we can deploy. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll just cost average into something here, or maybe we'll just, we'll see. We might just let it sit there, and once we let go of some of these options at some point, which will be soon. Oklo 213 expiration, VG 227. So, we're gonna be selling these to close at some point soon. Either way, so we'll see. We'll look for other opportunities and let this cash grow a little bit. So, and then the rest of the portfolio, hopefully we get continued upside in uranium. So, all right, I'm going to end it there. Appreciate you guys listening, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.